Today we will be talking about zeros. Zeros also have multiple names: zeros, roots, x-intercepts, solutions, things like that. So we're going to be talking about those today. So zeros are the points at which the function intersects the x-axis. So the polynomial function that has the degree n, so we're just saying it has some number n, can have at most n real zeros. In an even degree polynomial has an even number of zeros, or it doesn't have any zeros at all. And an odd degree polynomial has an odd number of zeros. So we're going to graph these and find their zeros. So the zeros, we'll do both. Alright, so I have graphed them on Desmos. Feel free to use Desmos or to use a graphing calculator, whichever you prefer. So the zeros here are where they cross the x-axis. So, or your x and your y-intercept is 0. So in this case, it's -2, 0, and 1. -2, 0, and 1 are the zeros. And for the second one, if I graph this, the zeros will be, I think I typed it wrong. Let's see. Plus 4x cubed minus 2x. Yep, I did. I thought they were nice numbers, and they are, but not if you type it wrong. So, you see the difference here? Well, this is an x to the fourth, so you would think there'd be an even number of zeros. There is, and we'll talk about in a minute why there actually are an even number of zeros, even though it looks like there are only 3. So, this has -1 0, 1 0, and 3 0. This guy right here is a little special because he looks different. You see how these go through the x-axis and this one goes down and back up. So, -1, 1, and 3. -1, 1, and 3 are your zeros for this function. Alright, so let's find the linear factors, or the factors of a polynomial can show its zeros. So let's factor this. Let's take out an x, and then we have x squared minus 2x minus 15. So x times what multiplies to -15 and adds to -2, -5 and 3, x minus 5, x plus 3. So set them all equal to 0. So I get x equals 0, 5, and -3 for my zeros. Multiplicity, once again, multiplicity of 0 is when it has potentially more than 1 0. So let's do this example, then we'll talk about their multiplicity. It's easier, I think, to explain it with an example. So let's factor. Take out an x. I have x squared minus 6x plus 9. And then what multiplies to 9 and adds to -6, -3, and -3. So I have x minus 3, x minus 3. And you set it equal to 0. Or you might see it as x times x minus 3 squared. So x is 0. It has multiplicity 1 because of the exponent is only 1 on that one x. If it was squared, it would have multiplicity 2. But since this x minus 3 is squared, it's going to have its 0 is x equals 3, and it has multiplicity 2 because of this little 2 right here. So if we wanted to graph this, I forgot to type it in, so give me a second. Let's go to Desmos. X cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x So you see how this one looks a little different? So we still have 0, but we have 3. And since 3 goes down and comes back up, we call that bouncing. And that means the multiplicity is even. So if the multiplicity is even, it bounces. Whereas if the multiplicity is odd, it crosses. So for sake of, I'm actually going to get you to do 7, and I'm going to do 6 and 8 with you this time. Yeah, I know, switching it up, I'm doing the evens. So, you're going to set them all equal to 0. So I get -7 as a 0, -1/2 as a 0, and 4 as a 0. So -7 has a multiplicity of 2 because it's squared. And since it's squared and has a multiplicity of 2, that means it's even, so it bounces. And then -1/2 just has a multiplicity of 1, which means it crosses. And then x minus 4 has a multiplicity of 3 because of the cubed, so that means it crosses. So 7 is for you to do. And at the end of the video, I'll make you fill in a chart or something. So 8 says a polynomial function has a 0 at -6 with multiplicity 2, and 2 with multiplicity 1. So we want to write a polynomial function in standard form that could represent this function. That means we're going to have to multiply some things out, but that's okay. So x minus 6 means x plus 6 is a factor, and it's squared because it has multiplicity 2. And then x minus 2 is a factor with just a 1, so I'm not going to write the 1. So then we got to write this out. X plus 6, x plus 6, x minus 2. So you're going to take and FOIL all of these together, but you can only do 2 at a time. So x plus 6 times x plus 6 gives you x squared plus 12x plus 36. And then you want to multiply it by x minus 2. And that's where the fun comes in. Once you have distributed the x to everything and the -2 to everything, you get x cubed plus 10x squared plus 12x minus 72.